Hey guys, what's up? You are watching Fancy Pants Media Friday Morning Live. This is the marketing and media show that's made easy to make your marketing and media better. We believe story is the power to influence minds and markets. And Mondays are, our to-dos. And then Fridays are all about talking about the philosophy of marketing. And it's really important because we want to help you. That beginning of the week is to really learn how to, make better videos, get better sound quality, just the how-to. And then Fridays we're just here to crush it and think about like a lot of things. So today I want to talk to you about something that has really hit home for a lot of YouTubers. It is the demonetization of YouTube. I know it's really, really crazy. A lot of people are saying, hey, this is a backlash because of some videos that have been posted from like YouTube Red creators who got pulled. Other people are saying it's because YouTube and Google are just having a hard time convincing their advertisers that it's a safe platform, that the content that people would be advertising on won't have things or ads or just stuff that is contrary to what they promote. So a lot of stuff is a lot of channels have been demonetized, especially those in the area of guns and just a lot of different things. But today I want to talk to you about strategies on how to overcome and monetize your channel without AdSense. How you can still make money on YouTube, how you can still monetize your audience in a way that isn't sleazy, in a way that isn't, so kind of difficult, because the bar is set pretty high. YouTube just announced that they're going a different route. Before, you only had to have, I think, 10,000 minutes of watch time and then 1,000 subs to be into the partner program to be monetized. I did that about a year ago, and then the other day got an email saying, hey, your channel is going to be demonetized as of February 20th because you don't meet the 4,000 hour criteria for just for YouTube and to be a part of the partner program. I did the math. That's about 240,000 minutes of watch time. Now that's a high amount of watch time. And what I see Google doing here is that they want to protect their advertisers. And some people feel that that's at the cost of the content creators. Well, I think Sean Cannell had the best video response to it. It'll be in the link in the description below after this video is live. But I will say that he had a lot of great strategies. Go check it out. Just go check out Sean Cannell's Think Media is so good. Video Influencers, so good. But I want to give you some of those tips that I feel that would really help your channel. So, strategy, how to monetize without AdSense. The first thing I would tell you is that Patreon is a great starting point. And the reason that I like Patreon is because you can also offer these perks to your audience. You can really dive in and start to have that relationship with your audience. One thing about YouTube, sorry about the noise, they're doing construction above in the apartment above. So if you hear like loud bangs and stuff like that, it's construction. One thing I do love about Patreon, man, they're going hard up there. One thing I do love about Patreon is their ability to really connect with your audience. Sometimes YouTube can seem really one-sided, and AdSense kind of keeps it one-sided in the fact that you can get monetized apart from your audience. The nice thing about meshing the two is that you can offer perks and behind the scenes, and Patreon is just a good place because you don't have to rely on these changing algorithms. Patreon allows you to directly be funded by your audience. So if your audience loves the content that you're creating, they can say, hey, I'm willing to give $1 or $2 per video for however many times a month you do that. So that way you can kind of have a budget for each video or podcast or art or comic or whatever you're doing. That is a great starting point on monetizing, your audience. The second thing I would say is courses, merch, and groups. Now, the reason that this is important is because if you are a content creator, off the bat, you're doing something that's kind of difficult for other people who might not be able to do the things that you do. Oh, they are like destroying the apartment above me. I wonder what's going on up there. Maybe we should take the camera and go see, because it's super loud. But one thing I will say is that you have this insider knowledge, and sometimes you don't see that the things that you're creating are difficult for other people, or other people want to kind of get in and understand what you're doing and how you're creating, whether it be podcasts, comics, art, music. And so the first place I would start is courses. I have a friend, Omar, who is doing, I think it's called the Minecraft Bible, and his channel has a lot of views and a lot of subs. One thing that I think is people want to know, how are you doing that? Like, how do you get these Minecraft videos? And I would be interested in stuff like that. I think it would help to have a course, like a beginner primer course, charge for that course and let people know, hey, this is how I'm creating my content. The second thing is merchandise. Now, I am not like really big into like trying to like sell people merch for the sake of merch, but there are sometimes when merch makes sense, because the merch itself can tell a story. Right now, I'm rocking, I don't know if this is backwards, but I'm rocking a Geekdom, like this hoodie. Now, this hoodie, you can't purchase this hoodie. This only comes to somebody who has been a member of Geekdom for 3+ years. And I think it was like 3.5 years into my Geekdom membership. And if you don't know what Geekdom is a collab co-working space in San Antonio and San Francisco and other parts of the world. It's a really cool space for creatives and tech people, just to get together and share a space. But I had to be a member for 3 years. I was like already into my like 4th year, and I got an email saying, hey, you forgot to pick up your hoodie. So I didn't think too much of it. I went and I picked it up, and the people there were like, you've been here for 3+ years? And I was like, yeah, it's, I love this space. This is a great space to connect and create. And they're like, wow, you were here at the very beginning. And I'm starting to think, and they're like, we don't give these out very often. And they wanted to hear my story, and I'm sitting here thinking like, it's just a hoodie, but to them it meant that I had invested my time and my energy and my resources into this company that they were building, and they wanted to hear my experience. And anytime anybody sees me in this hoodie and they know what it costs to get, it kind of starts to tell a story. Now, if your merch that you're selling on your YouTube page or on your Etsy page or wherever you're trying to monetize, it has to tell a great story. So I wouldn't say merch for merch's sake. I would say that your merch has to tell a great story. From hats to another person who's just crushing it is Inside Out CBCB. Follow them on Instagram. My friend Mike is just tearing it up when it comes to like merch. He's making, I feel it's merch that matters, because what he's doing is he's using the merchandise to fund trips around the world to give kids these experiences that they wouldn't get anywhere else, going to Skid Row and helping the homeless, going to Guatemala. It's just a fantastic thing. So kudos to you, Mike. The third thing to monetize an audience or your platform is groups. Now, masterminds are a great way to get like-minded people together. And the reason I like this idea is because when you start to pull a group together, a lot of things happening. You can have learning in that group. You can have cross collaboration. And those things are really important when you are building your network, because what matters most on YouTube is minutes. But if you are just by yourself trying to like fight the algorithm by yourself, just with like trying to get as many keywords in there, trying to get, the really popular content, and then you just promoting and promoting and promoting. The thing is, your audience is going to be, and your network is the size that it is right now, and you can grow it. But if you had, say, 7 to 10 more people who were in kind of the same space that you were, and y'all are cross-promoting, cross-collaborating, and then talking about your learnings of, hey, this is working, this is not working, what's going to happen is that you're going to grow faster when you go with somebody, when you grow with somebody. So that's what I would say. That's my next step for YouTube is getting together a bunch of YouTubers, and we're going to collaborate. I've had people reach out to me about Podcast Network, and people are just wanting to connect because They see what I'm doing here on this platform, and they just want to know how to do it. And the other thing is, it's comforting to know that somebody else is kind of going through the same thing. I had a few friends who sent me their demonetization screen grabs, and I thought it was kind of cool. I was like, hey man, I know exactly what you're going through. We're gonna make it. I think sometimes people just need to feel that there is a community. So groups are a great way, and you can do that through Patreon. And finally, the third thing to monetize is affiliate marketing. I do affiliate marketing through Amazon. So if I mention something and I say the link is in the description below, it's an affiliate link, and so I get a small percentage of whatever that person spends if they were to purchase that. So that totally helps. It doesn't help in the same way Patreon does, because Patreon, you have a set budget per content that you're creating. Affiliate links are essentially kind of like a hit or miss. So you have to really be dedicated to creating great videos around that product. I don't know how well that is going to be like a long-term strategy, but for the meantime, if you can monetize, that is a great way to do it. So I would say, when it comes to really monetizing, even growing, you have to think about strategy. Now, strategy is super huge, but there's this thing that strategy is only one leg of this whole thing. You have to also have execution. Now, I'll tell you, if you have strategy and no execution, it's worthless. If you have execution and no strategy, you're gonna learn, but it's gonna take a lot longer. I would say have a solid strategy and execute on that strategy, meaning even if you have to write down on a napkin, hey, these are the things that I think I want to create, and then try and execute on those things, you're gonna learn. I would rather have action without strategy than by strategy alone. But if you put those two together, strategy and action, you're going to crush it. Those three things that I talked about, Patreon, courses, merch, and then affiliate links, if you add those to your channel, you are definitely going to be able to monetize. Now, let's kind of just get this out of the way real quick. If you're on YouTube just to make money, there's better ways. Go and invest in something, because, and I'll say it like this, YouTube only makes sense for me right now, and this is just my thoughts, as a marketing platform. I don't think it's the best place to generate a business and try and make a business all by yourself. But if you have a business, you need to be thinking about how you're using your YouTube in order to continue to grow that business. So all that to say, let's take real estate for example. If you are a real estate agent, YouTube is going to be your best friend, not because you want to show houses on there, but because you want to build rapport with your clientele. If I were in real estate and on YouTube, what I would do is I would show the nicest parts of the city that you live in, and kind of start to paint the picture and paint the story of what it is to live in this area or that area, the benefits of living, on this side of town, some of the schools. What you need to do is you need to paint this whole picture of what living in your city looks like. Now, as a real estate agent, you might be thinking, why does that even matter? I'm just here to sell houses. Well, you're actually selling a story of what it is to live in those places. So when it comes to business, when it comes to strategy, all of that to say, it's best to have a strategy and to execute on that strategy. To have a business and a YouTube, I personally wouldn't say YouTube is a business all in of itself. If you disagree with me, feel free to throw a comment below and say, hey, you're absolutely wrong. These people have made it. These guys upstairs are definitely not YouTubing right now. Oh, it's so loud. So finally, I just want to leave you with this last thing. A lot of people, when it comes to the whole YouTube thing, they just think about strategy and they just think about monetization. But I want to tell you there is something that's a bit more important than those things, and it is working from your strengths and your core values. Now, what do I mean when I'm talking about strengths and core values? You have a different perspective, a different idea on how things work and how just life works. So that's a valuable perspective. I don't see things the same way you do, and you don't see things the way that I do, and there's multiple perspectives. And once you can shed light on an idea or a thought what tends to happen is that we get to see the world, you know, in a brighter, better perspective. So when you create content, whether it be for YouTube, for your marketing, you have to create content from your strengths and your core values, meaning that if your core values are aesthetics, then you probably want to have your videos looking really, really good. If your core value is relationships, then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to nurture those relationships in marketing using something like maybe an email management system or customer relationship management software, because you really want to know your customer. So the thing is, say that you are all about the aesthetics, and you try to do it somebody else's way. Say you try to go the email marketing route and you try to nurture these relationships, but that's not really your strength. Well, what happens is you do a poor job on that end when you should be leveraging the strengths to do the thing that you do best. So I would say you have to know your strengths, have to know your values. And so in the book Storytelling Heart, I lay out a 12-step process that you get to start to develop. And this is really helpful for marketing because the hero's journey is what this book is all about. It's like psychology of the hero's journey, how to leverage that. But once you start to take these pieces, you realize that these are all marketing pieces. We start with something called the manifesto me, the person that you want to be. And this is important for you and for your audience because you can start to articulate what really drives your values. And when you can start to articulate what drives your values, you create a tribe. There's tons of stuff in this book that I feel will help you, crush it when it comes to working and creating out of your core values. The second thing I would say is self-discovery. You have to invest in yourself. I'm not trying to pitch you on a course. I'm not trying to say, you should go buy these things, but I do invest in myself. I've purchased courses from MZ, from Alex Buono, who's doing some great stuff on SNL. I consume all of Philip Bloom's content because I believe in that aesthetic, but I also believe in adding to myself and learning, and then I start to discover things through that learning process. So another great thing for that self-discovery is a book by Patrick Hanlon. It's the Primal Branding. This thing is fantastic. YouTube actually, in their Creator Academy, they say this is like one of the first things that you need to read. And the reason is because Patrick, he goes through what makes a brand primal, what makes you be attracted to a brand. So when it comes to the philosophy and the thought process, I think the Storytelling Heart is good for you to understand who you are and how to tell your story. But secondly, to attract an audience, Patrick just gives you a 7-step process for really crushing it when it comes to that whole, just being a primal brand. So I hope that's a lot of stuff that we covered in those two things of monetization, strategy, and your core values. Let's answer some questions and we're going to wrap this up. I am so sorry that these guys are making so much noise, but yeah, let's get into those questions. Oop, there we go. Omar asks, he says, video marketing on YouTube, Twitch, Snapchat, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Omar, this is a long question, buddy. I'm probably going to have to break this apart. Let's start with just that first one. And I will say this. The most important thing when it comes to platforms is context, meaning different platforms have a different feel. Twitter is going to be way different than Instagram, than it's going to be on Facebook. And the strategies that you should have should be individualized to the platform. So when it comes to video marketing on YouTube, I think what I just talked about is going to help you there. But when it comes to Facebook, I would say Facebook is an ad-driven platform and that you're going to have to pay to play. That's that simple. When it comes to Twitch, if you're not pushing a game and if you're not constantly gaming on that platform, trying to push like a vlog on Twitch, you'd have to be really, really special and really energetic to make it there. Same thing with Snapchat and Instagram. Those are for micro stories. I see people, and this kind of drives me bananas, that they just want to sit there and talk and have long form conversations on their Snapchat, and it's like, dude, I'm here for a micro story. I need it to be 10 seconds or less, LinkedIn, I don't know about, I'm not a huge LinkedIn fan. It's not my thing. And then Twitter, I honestly feel that Twitter is all about just joining that conversation. It's about words. And when it comes to video marketing, I think you're going to have to keep it micro on that too. So those are my thoughts. I will tell you this, the thing that I'm experimenting with right now is on Instagram. I'm turning my camera sideways. So I'm getting, instead of 16:9, it's 9:16. It's this vertical action that's happening, and I'm all about creating stories. Some of my next videos are going to be about how to gain attention using Instagram stories. I love the feed of Instagram. It's kind of how it started, but I kind of feel that stories is the place for me and for, you know, content creators. So I hope that answered your question, Omar. Yeah. Let's jump to another one. My friend Justin asks, I want to learn Final Cut. Any places you recommend? I'd say Adobe Premiere. The Adobe Premiere Pro is what I would suggest. And the reason I suggest Adobe Premiere over Final Cut is because one is for preference, but two, and this is the thing that always bugs me, is that having that multi-track, it's not that simple in Final Cut. I don't know if they've changed it recently, but I still use Final Cut for a few client projects and it drives me bananas. The thing I love about Adobe is its multiple tracks, the way that you can control audio. It's just super, super simple once you get to know the platform. But lynda.com, YouTube would be my two places to go to learn any piece of software. If you guys have any questions for me, you can hit me up on Twitter at Nick_Ovaya. You can drop a comment below. I've been, you know, hearing all of your feedback. I thank you for kicking it with me this long. And as always, until we chat again, I hope you tell the world a great story. Peace.